Let's start this over. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is Bisu Dagger, and I am casting Bisu's first game ever. This is on live television. It will be against a Zerg player, which is a little iconic that his first game is actually against a Zerg. So this is a really cool opportunity for many of you guys who have never seen his first game, and it's going to be on the map Neo Forte against the Zerg player Stay. Now, Neo Forte has a record of 39 Zerg wins to 48 Protoss wins, so it is slightly Protoss favored. Now, this was a game that was so graciously given to me just yesterday on TeamLiquid.net. If you guys are aware of Team Liquid, then go there and check out the threads, because there's a lot of other cool games that have been provided with Bisu from back in the day. It's really cool to just kind of hear the noises in the background, the commentators, and how many of them have just kind of shifted out from early 2007 up to now. Or I guess this is actually earlier. Sorry, not 2007, 2005. So Bisu's first game was September 28th, 2005. Oh, and look at that fangirl. I wonder if she already knows that she's going to be committing her life to fandom for Bisu. A lot of these girls are unprepared for the kind of cheering that they're going to have to do in the next decade. Looks like that drone had a little bit of an AI issue trying to go ahead and scout out to Bisu's base. And Bisu, who scouted down at the bottom, or who was spawned at the bottom left-hand corner, is now scouting his Zerg player Stay at the bottom right. And what kind of opening is this? You're actually up on like a platform almost where you spawn here. So Neo Forte is already off the bat a very interesting map. And we all know that 2005 maps were nowhere near as balanced or on par as the maps of today. I do like the choke points that are built up with minerals, because that's pretty hilarious. If you mine out those, imagine the kind of concave that you can get on your opponent with the amount of surface area you will be giving yourself. In fact, all of the bases are just kind of sectioned out by minerals, so very neat. And Bisu, if this were Bisu today, he'd be looking forward to going for that Forge Expand, but this isn't a map that really allows Forge Expand to be a legitimate build. Although he does go ahead and put a Forge out with his Pylon, so things are actually looking very familiar for him. Meanwhile, there is a spawning pool and an additional hatchery for Stay. So how quickly is Stay going to try and get up the Hydralisk? Because 3-hatch Hydra is a pretty strong build, and I'm not sure if that's something that was common back in 2005. But Bisu does go for a block with that gateway. The drone can't get inside, and a cannon behind this. So this is pretty cool so far. He's making sure he can be defensive and expand behind his Forge if he would like to. The spawning pool is quite a bit late, and there is no extractor along with it, so obviously speed and gas is not really a huge thing this early in the game for Stay. He's not saying, oh, I'm going to try and go for lair, or I'm not going to go for speedlings quite yet. But a third base is definitely a possibility, but Bisu showing how good his probe micro is even from the beginning. He is the best at harassing with his workers, but Stay so brilliantly brings in another hatchery, so that's going to be good for him. So this is the Sky 2005 Pro League Round 2, and that would mean that Bisu is actually playing for NBC Game Hero at this time. He ended up playing for SK Telecom a little bit later, but not this early in the game. He was on NBC Game. And that third hatchery, it's going to finish up. Bisu doesn't even have a Zealot out to try and harass, which is pretty surprising. You'd think, even at this early in the stage of the game, that building a Zealot this early on would be pretty useful. And finally, the extractor does go down after a third hatchery, so really low on gas still. There's not going to be enough gas to choose all tech routes, where if you get that extractor earlier, you can start thinking, okay, maybe I'll go for the double Hydralisk upgrades. Maybe I'll get that speed, and then I can pump out a few Scourge to pick off Corsairs. But because this is not that standard Sarah DT build from Bisu, it's not going to be as necessary to get to that Spire very quick. And the Forge is getting the upgrade pretty quickly here, and that +1 upgrade will help out a ton if Bisu can pump out a few more Zealots and start harassing at some of these bases. Still, both these players are staying pretty much enclosed. Only Lynx are out there to do the scouting. Oh, look at the coaches for I guess I'm not sure what team Stay is on right now. P and C, is that the old SK Telecom team? And it's possible here. Let's go into the Wikipedia or Liquipedia sources here and find out. So he was playing for Pantech X back in the day. So that's the team that Bisu is fighting against right now. And it says Bisu is on POS, so he's on Pirates of Space. I guess that's what the old team name used to be here. Oh, that's a lot of Zerglings out. I guess a Stargate has been built in a Citadel. Even in 2005, these buildings look way too familiar. How is Savior not prepared in the MSL in 2007 when Bisu in 2005 is going for fast +1, speed, production inside of the Stargate? This is way too cool. And I know that Bisu isn't the original pioneer of the Bisu build. He just made it really popular by being so successful and executing it on such a higher level than all the other players could. And still, even today, in the Sonic Pro League, he's the only one who can execute it so perfectly. And the Hydralisks are applying pressure for Stay outside of Bisu's Forge. And this is all too familiar for anybody who's watched Bisu play Shine or Roro from Samsung Khan's team. And I guess they're now Samsung Galaxy. How things have changed. Even these old names back in the day. A lot of name changes throughout the years. And the Hydralisks have taken down the gateway at the front. There's a decent amount of cannons in the back. And this is that three-hatch Hydra build that I was kind of talking about earlier. And I guess it is pretty popular for Zerg players back in 2005. But these Zealots, once they do have this speed, the Hydralisks are going to be pretty squishy. The DPS of Zealots with that +1 upgrade is going to be really strong. And the Hydras, they do have the speed upgrade, and it looks like they do have the range, because that one Hydra hit the Corsair from pretty far distance away. But these Corsairs are going to town right now on the Overlords. And that's going to be really good, because Stay, instead of actually continuing to apply pressure at the natural, has decided that he needed to pull all his Hydralisks back to attack the Corsairs in a Ricky move fashion. Meanwhile, more gateways are going to get dropped down, so Bisu can get his production a little bit higher. I think that's a huge issue right now, is Bisu, while he has a decent number of Zealots, he cannot compete with the production Stay at this time. Stay, he has that speed upgrade on his Zerglings also, so his ground forces are looking a little bit sturdier right now. And as long as he can mass produce and apply pressure, maybe try and hit the third at the same time. Does Bisu have a third? It looked like he did, but he may just be sitting on 2 right now. His Corsairs, though, are doing a great job of scouting this 3-base Zerg and watching to see when the tech is going to go up even further. So Lair is on the way just now, and we're looking at a 9-minute mark with Stay only just now getting Lair. I'm pretty sure Jaedong would come back from the future and smack the Stay in the head for not getting the Lair any earlier. He's probably saying, "You cheesy mother Zerg." But not executing a 3-hatch Hydra bust without any gas early on, it just wasn't too good for him either. Maybe that probe just upset Stay so much because he wasn't able to get that 3rd hatchery down. His drone had to get pulled back home, and a stronger, mightier drone took the place of it. That's quite a bit of cannons, though, defending that entrance to the base. And Bisu's going to have 6 gateways right off the bat, and a Forge in the background here. So that's going to be important, because you really always want to continue to get at least one upgrade running at a time. I personally like to always pump 2 upgrades at a time, and that does leave you vulnerable. With the gas and minerals you have to spend to continue to get those upgrades. But 1 at a time will consistently keep you in the game. And these Zealots are pushing out here, but that's a lot of army for Stay. It seems like he's very well prepared for this. And no Dragoons behind this. There's no Storm added into it yet. It seems like Storm tech isn't something that Bisu is comfortable with yet. And these Hydralisks are going to chase the Zealots down. And unless he can find a good engagement to force these Hydralisks in, I don't see how he can prevail. But Stay, he's not microing his Hydralisks back very well at all. And in fact, these Zealots are getting some nice surface area on the Hydralisks and chopping down this army pretty quickly here. But yeah, okay, so it looks like even with the sloppy micro from Stay, Bisu's Zealots are going to get pushed back. And the Pirates of Space are probably getting a little bit worried sending out their rookie this early in the match. Not wanting to give Pantech X that 1 game lead or 1 game advantage in this Sky 2005 Pro League. Bisu's going to try and have to hold here while Stay continues to apply pressure. These cannons from the back are going to be really good to support these Zealots. It's kind of like the stationary Dragoons if you want to think about it that way, but without Dragoons, High Templar are going to be the next range thing that Bisu can look to help support his sturdy ground melee units. And that's a huge issue. If those High Templars aren't there, his army will lose almost every time. Just because as long as Stay sends in a few Zerglings to the front to lock up the Zealots, the Hydralisk DPS will kill them down very quickly. Even though you'll lose a couple Zerglings at the front line, it's worth it. And now Lurkers are coming from behind here too. Scourge may have been built. I'm not sure if the Spire was even done, but I think the motivation for getting that lair was actually to go for Lurkers. And now these Lurkers are pushing in. I bet Bisu's really regretting spending one of those Storms so early on and maybe hitting like the back end of a Hydralisk, because that puts him even further behind on clearing up these Lurkers who are trying to move in. The Observatory you can see is very far behind, but it will be finishing up soon. And once he can get Observers out, this could be a manageable situation still. But Stay looking like he could be in control of this game, double expanding. And if Stay gets away with those 2 expansions, then I don't see how Bisu can hold on here. Another base is going to be pretty important coming up. We're looking at 13 minutes into the game, and Bisu's still only sitting on those 2 bases. He had pushed out to get a 3rd, right when those Lurkers moved that timing in, and so that probe and that pylon did immediately die. So that wasn't good for him. A few Dragoons have been built though, and I really like this decision because with the range on those Dragoons, you can help pick off those Lurkers a little bit more easy when you're lacking in Storms. And also the Zergling count is pretty low, so Bisu's got to be feeling like if he moves out here and the Zergling count isn't high enough when he pushes out with the Dragoons, then Stay's army will not be sturdy enough to compete. Storm will clean up those Hydralisks very quickly if Stay cannot micro them back. And so I'm thinking that as long as the army is strong enough, Bisu can just kind of powerball his way across the map and eventually take out Stay. But shuttles are coming around here, and so are we going to see Bisu do his first ever drop. And the Storms are coming up, and look at those drones trying to go down the ramp, getting a few kills, but it looks like the second one's a dud. So far we haven't seen the best Storms from Bisu, but he does have another High Templar here, and it's going to get more drones. Great job by Bisu. And this is the first time we are ever seeing a drop. Will he continue to get more kills? He's continuing to just kind of toy with the Zerg opponent. Now Stay does have the Hydralisk in here. The shuttle looks like it is going to get away. And unfortunately, the High Templar inside the main base will end up dying off here. So it looks like the Hydralisks are going to have to regroup and start going across to pressure across the map again. Because if Bisu had taken a good opportunity here, I know that he was waiting for the Observers, but with those Hydralisks brought back to defend against the drops, that's the perfect opportunity to push out and kill off these Lurkers. But like I said, the Zergling count is so low. These Dragoons are going to be worth their weight in gold because they can combat the Hydralisks and the Lurkers at the same time. And once these Zealots come out here, this push is going to be way too strong. Storm getting mixed in here. And don't fear, part 2 is on its way. As I scroll up, we have part 2. Boom. And it looks like Bisu is going to be pushing out again. His army did just clean up Stay's in the middle. And Stay looking very defeated right now. It looks like his drop drew the army away just enough so Bisu had an opportunity to push in here. The Sim City, as you can see, is just a whole bunch of out in the open sunken colonies. And that's not good at all. It's going to be way too easy to get in there and tear the forces apart. Bisu's macro behind this is just immaculate. And the storms are going down to clean off everything that comes at him. Drones, Hydralisks, Zerglings, all mixed in together. And they're getting picked apart really easily here. And as you see the coach just looking upon the game as Bisu does wreck his opponent. A complete rookie here. His first game ever on television. And it looks like he might end up just taking this game. Oh, look at all those old players. The nostalgia as we see the old outfits that the teams for Pirates of Space and what was the other one? Pantech? Oh, GG. And Bisu does end up winning his first game in the Sky Pro League 2005. Congratulations to him. And look how young he is. Oh, but Stay looks like he was pretty young too. He might be a rookie in this game too. Let's see how old is Stay. So Stay was born in 1984. 3 years older than Bisu. So he should have won that game. But he didn't. And great play by Bisu. And that concludes Bisu versus Stay, the first game that Bisu has